Welcome to our podcast, Inspiring Living, with me, Mark Candelaria. I am an architect, blogger, traveler, chef, father, and husband. I am the founder and now a partner of a fabulous 20-person architecture firm specializing in high-end residential architecture, designing amazing homes across the country. Over the last 20 years, we have hosted tours to Italy, Spain, and soon the Oregon wine country. And in the course of all this, I have met a lot of interesting people who truly inspire me. Our podcast is about all the opportunities that are right there in front of us to inspire living. Yes, we will talk about architecture and design, but every week we will venture into all sorts of topics that will inspire you, teach you, and motivate you to inspire living every day. My guests will include a wide gamut of amazing people, from those in the design industry to clients to real estate professionals, chefs, artists, sports figures, and philanthropists, and people who just flat out get it. Sit back and enjoy, and let's have some fun exploring all the opportunities that are just waiting for us. Please subscribe and get ready to be inspired every week. Okay, as my dad says, here we go. Welcome, everyone, and thank you always for tuning into our podcast. Well, Isabel and I are off to Lima, Peru in about 2 hours, and as usual, I'm trying to get as much accomplished before we get out of here. So, why not squeeze in a podcast edit? Well, this podcast I recorded some time ago, and if you listened last week, we featured Janice Rantanen, our Candelaria Design Director of Lasting Impressions, and one of our 2021 co-MVPs. Well, today we are going to feature the other 2021 co-MVP, architect and team director, Rebecca Rowe. Rebecca is amazing, talented, and extremely hard worker, and such an integral part of our Candelaria design team, and very deserving of the MVP honor. Okay, real quick before we go to the podcast, make sure to follow Isabel and I on Instagram and Facebook as we trek through Peru over the next 10 days. Isabel and I are going with my good friend and client and high school classmate, Herb Newbolt, and his lovely wife, Linda. We start a journey in Lima and then head to Cusco on Wednesday, and then Machu Picchu and the Sacred Valley next weekend, then back to Cusco, and then back to Lima. We are so excited, as this is Isabel and my first trip to South America. We've even lined up a private cooking class in Cusco, and so stay tuned for a virtual cooking class with Isabel and I from our new Christopher Peacock kitchen, featuring one of the recipes we will learn, and we will be happy to share with you once we return. Okay, here we go. Without further ado, here is our 2021 co-MVP, Rebecca Rowe. Our guest today is Rebecca Rowe. She was this year's, actually it's last year's, right? 2021.
Right.
MVP, Most Valuable Player, the Jeff Kramer Award. Every year our team nominates a handful of MVPs for the year, and then we each vote, and the MVP receives a weekend staycation package at the resort of their choosing. Oh, did you already do that?
No. No,
This year's almost over, Rebecca. You got to do it.
It's been a busy one.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I am very proud of you. It's a great way, in addition to quarterly bonuses and our other incentives, to reward our staff for work well done. This year was a tie. We had both team director and project architect Rebecca Rowe and a director of lasting impressions, Janice Rantanen, take the top votes for the 2021 MVP. So they will each be featured in their own podcast, and this is yours.
This is mine, yes.
And you're ready. You love podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts?
I listened to yours.
Oh, well, good. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm sure they're going to get the whole family listening to this one, right?
They better.
They better. My download is just going to go through the roof here, so this is awesome. Okay, so let's start with you telling our listeners a little bit about your background and what led you to be an architect. You just got your license, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was never an urgency to get it because, as you know, if you're not a principal, you're probably not going to use it very often, especially early in your career. So
right.
It was always a goal, but it never was urgent. And I just decided, why am I waiting?
Here's my theory on this. Okay. Yeah. Because when I got mine, I really didn't know what I might be. Or actually, I already was a principal when I got mine. But what it was for me, it's like the scarecrow or the scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz. You know, he was always smart, but until the wizard gave him that diploma, he didn't realize how smart he really was.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just one of those things that can't be taken away from you. You know, you are an architect.
Yeah.
Right? Did you feel that way?
A little bit, yeah. I think when I passed that last test,
Yeah.
I think I felt relief, of course, but also an accomplishment that
Exactly.
that's something I earned and I worked hard for it.
That's exactly
and
right.
Yeah, that was a nice thing.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about your background.
So I
Where are
grew
you
up
from?
in rural upstate New York in the
Okay.
Finger Lakes.
Okay.
I grew up on, but next to, a quarter horse farm that my grandparents ran.
Okay.
Both sides of my family were farmers, one dairy and one horses.
Okay.
I've always, as long as I could remember, always wanted to be an architect. I remember it as
Now,
early as...
how did that happen? Being
I
on a farm?
honestly-
Was it the structures? Were they building things all the time?
I
Or?
honestly don't know. I just remember as early as 7th grade wanting to do it. I grew up in a really old farmhouse that required constant work.
Okay.
And I did a lot of that with my dad. I was his right hand.
Yeah, so you-
I was his last hope for a boy, and it didn't work out, but he doesn't
I know
complain.
that one goes.
He does not complain, so it's all right.
That's funny.
So I don't know. I just always really liked building things.
Did you have Legos?
I did have Legos.
There you go. I had Legos too.
Didn't really play with anything else. I mean, on farm.
So you're always building things.
Yeah, I guess so.
Did you build forts?
I loved building forts. We build snow igloos because
There you go.
back in the
Oh,
90s
yeah.
it used to snow a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I just always liked creating.
That's cool. So you went to school there. You grew up
Yeah.
in New York.
I grew up in New York and went to college in Western New York
Okay.
at Alfred. I got my bachelor's degree there, and
Okay.
then right after that, I moved to Syracuse when I was offered a position in a historic preservation and adaptive reuse firm. And I was there for the first almost 11 years of my career.
Wow.
And it was a really great way to start out. There's a lot of things in historic architecture that you get to be exposed to. You
Yeah.
get the residential, you get the commercial,
And all the different details.
and all the detailing. That's a great foundation for
Right.
a career in architecture. So it wasn't the most glamorous work. There was a lot of moldy attics that crawling around in. but-
measuring and
yeah.
documenting. And
Yes.
Yep.
But I'm great at as-builts now. So,
Yep.
it was a great start. And then right after that, my family decided to move to Arizona.
Okay.
And
Now, what prompted that? I mean, there are dairy farmers and farmers. Let's go to Arizona. Let's go to Arizona. We're going to go raise
Yeah.
cactus.
half of my dad's family lives here and has for a long time.
Okay.
And in the 70s, my dad came out here and worked and stayed with them. So New York is a harsh place to live when you're growing older and you're
Yeah.
trying to retire and
Yep.
you've got arthritis.
Yep.
So it was just something that he always loved it here, and he wanted to come back. And we all said, well, if you're coming, we're going. So my whole family moved.
So you were already working,
Yeah.
and you decided just to come out with the family also,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we all uprooted and
And
left.
what year was that?
The end of 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I started here. I gave myself a little breather because, as you know, I kind of work a lot when
Yep.
I go at it. So I gave myself about a month, and then I started here.
So this is the first job
Yeah.
in Arizona.
Yep.
Your first and only job.
Yeah, first and only.
That's
Yep.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's good. So you started with us in 2016?
2016,
God,
November.
that's gone by fast.
I know. 5
And when I read
years.
this in the bios, it's almost 6.
Yeah, it's more than 5 now.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you first came, I think we got to work with each other on a little crazy remodel that
Yeah.
was both driving us totally insane.
Yes.
Remember that?
I do.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was a tough start.
That was a tough start. But you've earned your wings, that's for sure. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
And to win the MVP award, the Jeff Kramer MVP award, it's pretty great because you're really nominated by your peers.
Yeah.
Everyone in the firm.
Yeah.
And so to me that always tells me so much about, the person, what everyone thinks of you. So I think it's just fantastic.
Thanks.
So let's talk about your love for Italy. I saw that on here.
I had the opportunity to go during college, and as you know, I mean, you've been there multiple times.
Yep.
The craftsmanship and the art, just the way that it's been
With no power tools
no power
and no
tools.
building codes.
That's
How
what-
did they do that?
I find that fascinating. That's so fascinating.
It
to
is,
me.
right?
And the quality has obviously stood the test of time.
I know. I always tell people, can you imagine what those guys could have done
Yeah.
with our tools?
No.
Right?
No. Well, technology kind of makes us lazy sometimes.
That's exactly what I think.
It is.
So let me go off on that little tangent a little bit here, okay? So, we do all different styles of architecture.
Yeah.
We do contemporary. You're working on a couple contemporary houses right now. You're
Yep.
working on some very beautiful transitional houses and some beautiful traditional houses.
Yeah.
What's your favorite style?
Oof.
Knowing what you've already said.
At one point in my life, I would probably say farmhouse just because of where I'm from. That
Interesting.
kind of detail.
Yep.
That style. Now I'm kind of almost over it.
Hmm.
I still like it, and it's
Right.
it's clean and it's classic, and there's some nostalgia to it for me. But the more I do those transitional leaning more contemporary, I'm really loving it. They're open and bright and airy, and I tend to like things that are very clean.
Right.
So I think I'm leaning more
That's kind of
contemporary.
resonating your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still adding the detail. That's my criticism of the contemporaries.
100%.
Like you said, it can become the lazy man style.
Yeah.
Or lazy person style, I should say. Because it's, I'm going to keep it clean and simple. But I think the great contemporary architecture has just incredible details and incredible craftsmanship.
Totally.
Right?
You can notice. You
can see that difference. When
you notice the thoughtfulness that went into it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and it almost celebrates it because everything else is so clean that it really brings your attention to it.
So where did you go to Italy? Where did you study?
We just went for, I think it was over a Christmas break. So
Oh,
we were
a
only there
trip.
it was 2 or 3 weeks. And we started in Milan, and then we did Venice and
Northern Italy? Did you go to Florence?
We did Florence, which I loved. Florence
Yeah.
was my favorite.
Yeah.
We did Rome and Assisi.
You got around pretty good.
We did. It was quick, but it was.
How many
was
days
good.
did you say?
I think it was a little over 2 weeks.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a lot to cover in 2 weeks.
It was fast.
Yeah, so it was a macro tour.
It was.
You got little micro bursts, but most of it
Yes.
was just boom, boom, boom,
Yep.
boom. Good food, though, right?
Good food. Really, I swear. It's been, almost 15, 20 years by this point.
Yeah.
And I can still remember
Well,
this little shop.
you're due for going on the Italy tour here, I think, pretty soon. So
Yeah.
we'll
I
get
should
you.
be
We'll
up
get you
pretty
over there
soon.
for 2 weeks of really good Italian living.
Yeah.
So with that love, though, I know you have a really good love for cooking and baking.
Yeah, more baking. I don't tend to allow myself the time to spend cooking, but baking has always been a pretty good release for me. My grandmother was a baker, and she made elaborate cakes, and for some reason the precision of it just kind of soothes me. So I do enjoy baking. Yeah.
It's meditative, isn't it?
Totally is.
Yeah, it takes my mind completely off everything that's going on.
Yep.
And I get just so absorbed in what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I feel so good after I'm done. And then you get to eat it.
Yeah.
I mean,
You get to make other people happy with it too, which
right.
I really.
Well, I always say
really
it's
enjoy
a lot faster than architecture.
Yeah.
For about the same amount of gratitude.
Yeah, but there's some similarities in it for sure, because
There's a lot of
the
similarities.
detail work that you get to do at the end of it in some ways is
Yeah.
it's fulfilling.
Well, and I always say architecture is just like a big recipe.
Totally.
It's like you get your ingredients, and then it's up to the chef how you put them together.
Yeah.
Is it going to taste good or not taste good?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So I find a lot of similarities between cooking, music. They all tie together in very similar fashions, I find.
Definitely.
So, but you love architecture.
Mm-hmm.
You're glad you got your license.
Yeah.
And you are working on some great stuff right now. Tell us a couple of the projects you're working on.
Oh, let's see. There's so many.
Oh, just like, maybe
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
I do really enjoy some of the renovations that I've gotten to do so far with you. There's always an unknown factor in renovations. What are you going to uncover? What are you going to have to deal with?
Oh, yeah. Just found that on my project, my house.
Oh, yeah.
the Candelaria termite buffet.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. We have
Yeah.
whole walls that are just eaten away.
Oh, my gosh.
Like the stud is down to virtually a toothpick.
Oh, my gosh. That's fun to some extent.
Yeah,
not so
not
much
for
for
me.
this your house. But for me, that adventure's a fun one. But I've also really enjoyed doing some of my new builds, some of the contemporaries that are certainly newer for me,
Right.
style-wise, but are super intricate, so I get to really dive into the detailing.
We got a great project up in Flagstaff that you and Meredith and myself been working on.
Yeah, that one's going to be awesome. I've got a couple down here that are really great. One in Prescott that's just really charming and has the mountain vibe that's about to be done. So
Yeah.
I'm really getting the whole gamut.
Yeah, then you got the Palladio Villa in the middle of all the rocks in Prescott.
Oh, that one's very interesting.
That's
tucked
pretty
in the
cool.
rocks. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you've learned in the time you've been here? What has struck you about our firm?
Oh, gosh. There's been a decent learning curve just moving coasts,
Yeah.
because even the different sides of the country do things differently. They don't do trusses as much in New York.
Huh.
We do a lot of CMU in New York that I didn't see until
More stick framing.
Yeah, a lot more stick framing.
Yeah.
We didn't really do the truss thing as much. And I'm sure a lot of that is because I was so deep in the historic world out there. But,
Yep.
I mean, the way this firm operates is so unique, and it's such awesome experience to go through. So personal, the relationship you get to have with your clients and how well you get to know them.
It's kind of neat, isn't it?
It is very neat, and it's, I think, very unique to what you've created. So, yeah, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, and the diversity of the clients that we have.
Yeah, that amazes me still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's from rock stars and movie stars to just average Joe people that are just trying to add on to their master bedroom.
Yeah, and the relationships that you can develop going through this process that are long term.
Right.
You just don't really expect that going into it. And I have some clients that are former or current clients that I plan on staying in touch with forever. So that's invaluable.
That's the aspect of what we do that I find so rewarding. Is it's not, like I always say, it's a cliche line, but it's not about a set of plans.
Mm-hmm.
I find when we can relate and connect with our clients, it allows us to really customize what we're doing to fit them.
Yeah.
And I always tell people it's not about what we want and what we think they should have. We really want to find out what they want and what they want to have, and give it to them. Create it for them, in the best way we possibly can.
Yeah.
So that's what I've always loved about the residential side of things, as opposed to commercial. Commercial is great, but it's more about the money and the time and just get it built and get it open, and it's not as personal, So that part I think is a lot of fun. So what do you think is vital to becoming a good leader? Because you have taken over your team. Your team, I get the colors all mixed up. Your
I'm
team,
green.
Team Green.
Yep.
You've taken over Team Green, and you've done just an absolutely fantastic job with it.
Thank you.
Which I'm just so impressed with how you organize things, how you motivate your team, how you help your team, how you help them see the vision of what needs to get done and how to get it done. I'm probably stealing all your lines for you right now. So tell me, what does it take to be a good leader?
Well, personally, I've found success in just really paying attention to the things that they're saying and making them feel heard.
Right.
Everybody is so different, and the way they learn is different, and the way they process and organize and all of that is so different that I've just really taxed myself with paying attention to each person and treating them all differently.
Right.
Because if you treat them all like the same, it's not going to work.
There's not a
same.
formula.
No, there's no formula.
Nope.
So I think that's really important. And then I also really try to focus and help them meet their goals, because I'm very goal oriented, and I know what it's like to have something that sits on your list forever, and you're like, I'm going to do this, and it just keeps getting rolled to the next to-do list, and that's something that really frustrates me. So it's something I've really tried to focus on helping them with.
That's great. Yeah, and it was like watching the football this weekend, and you look at a football team and all the different personalities and positions and what they do and how they do it, and you can't coach each player the same way. Everybody's going to react a different way. Everyone has different capabilities and skills. And so what you just said is exactly true. I mean, you really have to be a good listener as a leader, and then really, take what you know and what you see from a macro vision and say, okay, why don't we try it like this? And they might say, well, I can't. Well, okay, then let's try it like this. Offer solutions.
Yeah.
And help them develop the map to get to their destination.
Absolutely.
That's what I see good leaders. And that's one thing I've learned from our tours. Is you can plan a trip till the cows come home. I know you relate to the farming stuff here, but there's going to be things that are just going to twist and turn, potholes and detours, and you've got to be able to adapt.
Yep.
Yep. And so I constantly see that. So let's pivot a little bit, and let's talk about what motivates and inspires you in and out of the office. I mean, you're a hard worker. I know that, Rebecca. I get emails from you at 3 a.m. or 12:30 in the a.m. and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's got to take it easy. So what do you do to unplug and check out?
I'm still working on that. I think that's a progress thing. I'm not great at unplugging. I do a little bit of reading, and that certainly helps. Driving fast also helps.
You listen to my podcast.
Obviously. But I don't know. I've always, if I'm having a bad day, the best thing for me to do is find an empty road and just drive. That's very soothing for me, and that led to my last car purchase, just because that speed and that quiet.
Tell everyone what you drive.
I don't anymore. Did you know?
No.
I traded it. Yes,
I didn't know that.
So a couple years ago, I bought my first brand new car, and I've been obsessed with Mustangs my whole life.
I've always loved Mustangs.
Yeah, I bought a brand new 2019 Mustang GT. It's got a 6-speed manual transmission, and that's therapy. That's just the noise, the feel, shifting gears, flying down the road, that there's nothing better than that for me. It wasn't really practical. So for now I've pivoted and I bought an Edge ST, and it's an SUV, and with all my nieces and nephews, it makes a whole lot more sense, and construction sites, obviously.
Yep.
But
that's still nice.
That opens a space in the garage for an old Mustang. So
there you go.
That's next on the goal list.
That's on the goal list. That's
cars.
cool. That's cool. So your family, I know, is very important to you.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with a lot of family things, right?
Yeah.
As we all do. And I talked to Janice about that. Mm-hmm. And that's just part of life, right?
Yeah.
And finding that balance of taking care of your family. So our parents are all getting older.
Yeah.
And it's hard, isn't it?
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been in the period of the last 10 years of my life where I'm starting to lose my grandparents.
Yep.
And my parents are getting older, and it's just even thinking about the fact that they're now the oldest living generation in your life.
Right. And you're next.
And it's just strange. I mean, I don't feel as old as I am, and time flies, and it's different.
We all think we're 18.
Totally.
Right.
Maybe 25. 18's, I don't want to go that far back, but and I have new nieces and nephews, and I have 2 sisters, and just seeing them grow and develop and start to learn how to read, and it's just it's an exciting thing to watch.
It is exciting, isn't it? I mean, it's life.
Yeah.
That's what life is.
Yeah.
You know, and then I know you like to do a lot of outdoors type things.
Yeah, I've always been an outdoor girl. I think that's growing up and doing all those projects and stuff with my dad all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have kayaks. I like to drive out to the lake in early morning when it's quiet and just
to know
kayak.
which lake do you go to?
I usually go to Saguaro. That's my top. And then if I'm feeling like something different, I'll go to Canyon. Those are out.
You're kind of in the East Valley there, right?
Yeah, I'm an East Valley girl.
I haven't been there I bet you I haven't been there in 40 years.
They're just so beautiful.
The canyons and the way that just mingles in and out. How full are those lakes right now?
I haven't been out in a couple months, but they're generally not too bad on the low side. And, of course, driving the Mustang to Canyon Lake was always fun.
Pretty fun trip.
I lived out in Apache Junction at that time, so it was a quick little zip through the winding roads. That was fun.
It is pretty.
Yeah,
it's so different,
beautiful.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, have you explored a lot of the state?
Not as much as I'd like to. I'd like to start going. I like to fish also, so I'd like to start going around and find different fishing places.
Yep.
And I do hike, so new hikes would be exciting for me too.
We got to get a group of people in the office to go hike, because those are 2 of my favorite things: fishing and hiking, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I just went skiing, and I forgot how much fun that is. So
I never got into skiing.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun. But yeah, it's so nice just to get out and away from everything.
Perspective.
Even if it's just a couple hours, it makes a big difference,
it does.
doesn't it?
The fresh air and just getting away. Yeah.
Yep. So what are some of your hopes for the new year?
Oh, well, I'm always striving to enhance myself both personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to have a goal in mind. So what's next? And then I aim for it. Right now, I don't have specific goals. I more have vague goals, I'd say. I'd like to improve, but I don't necessarily have a destination in mind. I just want to keep finding little ways to make life better professionally and personally. So,
well, we want to see you have those goals. We want to help foster those goals. We want to see you grow, and I think the sky's the limit for you if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm always trying to do, is just creating the pathway to get you wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
And like I had the podcast with Janice, and she has a whole set of different goals, but they tie into what we're all about.
Yeah.
And it's just like, let's figure out how to get you there.
Yeah.
Because that keeps you motivated, keeps you excited. You feel like you're progressing.
Yeah.
Right? And you are progressing. I mean, I think that's the objective, is you want everyone to grow and progress, and then you can mentor and teach and help the next wave come up the ladder, right?
Yeah, I need to have a goal to work towards. So, yeah.
So, in terms of your personal life, what are some of your goals? You've had an interesting personal life.
Yeah. I just want to have more of a personal life, I guess. It hasn't been as big of a focus as I'd like it to be, and as it should be.
We've all
in the
been so
last year.
busy.
We've all just
been so busy.
We've been busy.
When this pandemic hit, we thought, okay, well, now things are going to really slow down.
Yeah.
And it's been just the opposite.
It has. It's definitely been the opposite.
I mean, I've never seen it as busy, but I know that's going to end at some point.
Oh, it will. Of course it will. Yeah. So I just think making my health and my wellness more of a priority in my life is really a goal for 2020.
That's a good goal. That's a really good goal, especially when you see how your parents progress and how fast age comes.
Fast,
it does. So it's really important to take care of yourself and do those things and do things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I'm going to try to force myself to do more things like kayaking. I'd like go kayaking at
I know
least.
there's a couple skydivers. I just saw something. I saw something over the weekend from Evelyn that we won some kind of skydiving thing, or
Oh, she got. I think it was a hot air balloon thing, but
that sounds a little safer than skydiving.
Well, we did talk about skydiving at the event that we went to this weekend, and Tyler has jumped out of planes multiple times. I went with him one
Isabel's
time.
done it twice.
I did it at the Grand Canyon, which I would totally recommend. No more beautiful place to jump out of a plane.
In the Grand Canyon? Where did you land?
It was at the South Rim. So you jump. There's a little airport.
Yep,
right
I know
south
where it
of
is.
it, and that's where you take off and land. But you climb, and you get to see the whole canyon spreading out. And then you jump, and it's just
So when you jump, where do you land?
You land at the airport.
Okay.
There's this little rubber pit.
You don't get to go down in the parachute to the bottom of the canyon.
No, that would be
oh my god, that would freak me out.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I'd recommend it to anybody.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was peaceful.
Yeah,
and you get done and you're jazzed. I swear that high didn't leave me for months.
Wow, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Now, how long ago was that?
That was just after my birthday last year, so September of last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
When's your birthday? What month?
August.
August.
End
You,
of August.
Are you Leo?
I'm a Virgo.
You're a Virgo.
Yeah.
Just like Isabel. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. That's interesting. My mom's a Virgo. My grandmother was a Virgo, and my wife's a Virgo.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
See?
That's a lot of Virgos.
There's a lot of hope for us here,
I
Rebecca.
don't have any Virgos in my family.
Really?
No, I'm the only August.
In fact, my mom and my grandmother were born on the same day.
That's awesome.
They're not related. It's my dad's mom.
Oh, okay.
But same exact day, everything.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, this is fun. Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you. You do beautiful work. You do beautiful drawings. I have found it to be really fun to work with you because you're so organized and so thorough that I can relax and chill out and not worry too much. So it's really nice for me. And I know my partners Meredith and everyone shares the same sentiment. So you do a great job, and I'm really, really, really glad you're part of our team.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So how do we find you on social media? And I know you're there because I tag you.
I'm on Instagram. It's
Yep.
RRoeArch, so RRoeArch.
There you go.
I am striving in 2022 to pay more attention to that also.
Good. That's good.
Use it as the tool it is.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so fortunate we're in a visual field.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get into politics and any of that stuff. Just post the beautiful work you get to do.
Yeah.
And the experience of doing it.
Yeah.
And people find it very fascinating.
Yeah, I'm trying to be more intentional and spread that.
That's good.
That good work that we do all over, and so people can enjoy it.
That's great. Well, congratulations,
Thank you.
and thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me.
Great job. Thank you, Rebecca. Great job. Your story is amazing. And we are so glad you came to Arizona and have been such an important part of our team and the success of our company. Okay, Isabel and I need to get out the door, as I think our Uber driver's here. And he needs to take us to the airport for our trip to Peru. So we need to go load up the bags and get out the door. Okay, we have some more fun and inspiring podcasts in the works, including more podcasts with artists, chefs, realtors, branding experts, and so much more as we make our way through summer and head into fall. We have our virtual cooking classes coming up too once we return from Peru, so stay tuned for those too. Okay, I want to say a big thank you for the subscribes and reviews. Please take 5 minutes to give us a review, and if you do, we will enter you in our drawing where you will receive free round-trip airfare for one of our Candelaria design tours. Seriously, you cannot lose here, so go right now and give us a rating and review along with a subscribe, and then email or direct message me that you did so, and we will get your name in the hopper for this drawing. As mentioned, we are planning Candelaria design tours next year to Oregon in the spring of 2023, Paris and Burgundy wine region also sometime in the spring of 2023, and then we will start our 25th tour starting in Lisbon, Portugal, and then off to the village of Candelaria for my birthday in the Canary Islands, finishing in Marrakesh, Morocco in the fall of 2023. How does that sound? So give us a review and send me a message so I know you did, and we will get you in the drawing. We do our best to inspire living in everything we do, from our podcast to our cooking classes to our tours, and of course with our Candelaria design homes. Okay, have a great week, everyone. We'll see you from Peru. Let's stay safe and let's all live our lives with love, compassion, grace, and positivity. Thanks for the listen, and I hope to see you all soon. Because Inspiring Living is all about the people and the organizations that inspire us, we are excited to have Monogram Appliances as one of our sponsors. Anytime we do a new kitchen or a kitchen remodel, Monogram appliances are what we recommend to our client. Their appliances are the definition of luxury, meticulously detailed using the finest materials and an ownership experience that is second to none. This is how Monogram is always thinking ahead and inspiring and elevating the kitchen experience. Because at Monogram, they don't just elevate one thing, they elevate everything. I want to say a big thank you to my good friends at Stockett Tile and Granite Company, where your project is our priority. I want to thank the Stockett team, along with so many others who contributed to the success of our fabulous demonstration kitchen in our new Candelaria design office expansion. You will have to check out online our video cooking classes, and our kitchen is amazing. I've had the pleasure of working with the Stockett team for nearly 40 years on many spectacular projects, and trust me, they are the epitome of excellence when it comes to tile, marble, and granite work, bar none. Their skill and customer service is impeccable, and the bottom line is they are just good people. I have traveled with and dined with and just had good times, both personally and professionally, with Dave Stockett and his lovely wife, Becky, and they are the best. When it comes to your next tile and stone project, make sure Stockett Tile and Granite is a part of your team. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. We encourage you to write a review, screenshot it, and share it with your friends. Please instant message it to me and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights to inspiring living next week.